Hey gang, welcome back. This is Glenn and with another Glenamonian podcast here. And today's topic is actually something I've been holding off for a little bit because I wasn't sure if I had the answer. Well, of course I don't always have the answer, but I was curious if is the indie game development gold rush dead? And what I'm trying to refer to is you don't really hear a lot about like certain like indie games going mainstream as much as you used to. I remember a few years back, I guess I'm more referring to mobile, but this can also go for console games too, because I mean, you still hear from the guys who make Cuphead, but you don't hear anything about the guys that did Super Meat Boy, for example. The guys that did Zeboid Games. They did one called. It had Cthulhu in it. There was Cthulhu and there was Breath or Death 7. They're like little indie games on the Xbox 360. Well, they did another one called Cosmic Star Heroine, and I don't know. I guess maybe my usual outlets that I usually go to, they weren't making a lot of hubbub about it. But then again, I'm not really a big fan of some of the gaming journalism out there because it feels like the only way you'll ever get your game even noticed on those publications if either it sparks a lot of controversy or it maybe I don't know, maybe it's got to have some sort of buzz. Like the thing is, the journalist's job is supposed to give your game buzz, but the thing is, journalism now goes for clicks. Clicks, and it's like ratings. Like they want clicks. Even if your game is good and well polished, they ain't going to give you an article about it. But if your game has something to do with social justice, bam, front page of Kotaku. But anyway, that's another. I'm not going to get into that because it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. But anyway, the indie gold rush, is it dead? I want to say it kind of is. It's not definitely dead, but it's definitely not as big. Like, remember Flappy Bird? Remember how popular that game got? But of course, it got popular because PewDiePie played the game on his channel. I think the game was out for a few months, maybe if not even longer than that, on the Apple App Store. And all of a sudden, PewDiePie played this game, and he ranted and raved over it. Then everyone got on that game, bought it for 99 cents off the App Store. The guy was actually pulling in $150,000 a day before he took it down, which was kind of stupid. But I think because there was some ripped off art assets, I think those pipes were ripped off of Super Mario. Other than that, it was just a simple generic game, and people still play it. I mean, it's not popular now, but one guy made it. One guy actually made the game, and he made some pretty good money. Another one is Five Nights at Freddy's. That game was made by one person. Now, see, say what you want about the game. The man has earned his success. I'm not going to rip on this guy because he has earned his success. This guy is a man. He's got kids. He is living the dream that so many people strived. And it was literally lightning in a bottle because horror jump scares were, like, big. How old is the franchise now? I think it was like 2012, 2013 when that all started. And now he's up to Five Nights at Freddy's 6. Honestly, if he needed to put another story on his house, he just comes up with Five Nights at Freddy's 7. And since now he's got franchise recognition, doesn't matter what he puts out, people are going to play it. He did have that RPG that was kind of ill-fated because people want scares. People want scares. They don't want originality anymore. They want scares. I remember trying to make a game, Baxter. I guess I really tried pushing Baxter as a franchise starter. I wanted to really start doing games, but I didn't let myself get discouraged after one game. But after releasing Baxter for both Steam and for Android, something kind of gnawed at the back of my mind and saying maybe this wasn't for me. Maybe this wasn't for me. I think it was just the stress of trying to learn how to load the game on a platform. But of course, what got me most frustrated was the program that I used to make the game. It was Construct 2. I learned that deploying a game on a console was just not going to be possible without third-party plugin. Like I announced being a developer on a Wii U, and I didn't make a single game for the console. I announced it, but it didn't get released. I wanted a port of Baxter's Venture, or Adventure, I should say, to come out for the Wii U. But then I've heard that other Wii developers were having problems with simple frame rate issues. Because here's the thing with HTML5, it's not a solid platform to make games on. It's good for browser, little simplistic browser games, but anything past that, no. I mean, the effects are nice. I got some really nice, cool effects on my game, but porting that to anything else besides browser, and even then, browser technology, things change. Things change over time. So, like, your game might work 1 month, and then 2 months down the road, Google Chrome will change something, and your game won't work. And that's what I'm worried about because now that I have this game out on Steam for a couple years, I knock on wood, I don't think I've got any negative feedback from it. Like your game doesn't work, your game doesn't work. But that's the kind of thing that ticked me off about Construct 2. I think a lot of my discouragement was I do not want to use the software again. I bought a Game Maker bundle for $15, and it has exports for Android and iOS, but I haven't touched it because I don't know what it is. Like I was gung ho to learn Construct 2, but for some reason I cannot wrap my head around Game Maker. I think Construct 2 spoiled me on that aspect. I mean, even if I were to have to sit down for a day and watch tutorial videos and learn something, I'd be very, very, very hard pressed to do something out of it. But also, I want to do a different type of game. Um, but I'm a little leery about it because, like, the subject of this video is I think the indie game Gold Rush is pretty much done. Um, you've got freemium games on Android and Apple. The kind of games where you have to spend money. The game is free itself, but in order to get ahead or just to get loot, you have to actually pay for it. Um, it works. It actually works. Um, what else I was gonna say? But the chance of getting noticed now is a lot more difficult. A lot more people are getting into indie games, especially now that people are starting to become programmers. You know, I mean, okay, I'm not saying like you could make a game in JavaScript, but why would you? Um, but if you learn to code in C, you still have to have an artist to do all this. See, I'm an artist by nature. I learned bits and pieces of programming, but to make a game from scratch by yourself will take years out of your life. And that's another reason why, is it really worth it now? Because with the market being saturated as it is, do you want to waste 4 years of your life to get next to no returns? I mean, unless you're passionate for it, you already got a great paying job, a supportive family, and it's a hobby that might turn you lucky, that's good. But if this is something you want to do as a career, I wouldn't recommend it. I would not recommend it. Unless you have the time and the energy to put towards see, unfortunately with my career, with my job, I can't take the kind of time off that I want to actually learn this stuff. I'm a bit in a bind. I would love to have a week just to learn Game Maker. I'd like to get a prototype off the ground and work on that prototype and go from there. But sadly, time is not on my side. Well, a lot of times I get home from work, I'm tired. I go on a computer and I gotta check my email. Then I end up logging into Final Fantasy 14, which is my own dumb fault. And then about 9:30, I start getting really super tired and I'm off to bed because I get home near 5 o'clock. So, and I think my best time to learn a program like this is the weekend. Um, I have an idea for a Metal Slug inspired game, but I'm not sure how to make that as a mobile game. Because see now I don't even know if people even play mobile games anymore. Um, you know, I ask around people, and no one plays. It feels like nobody wants to play games on their phones. Maybe I'm talking to the wrong kind of people because I'm talking to coworkers near my age. Perhaps I need to talk to the people who are more likely to buy phone games, which would be younger teenagers. Maybe I need to make a post off of NeoGAF. Just ask that question because now I'm really curious. Would I get what kind of game would somebody would want to play on a phone? Because like YouTube, people want to watch YouTube and whatnot, but do people really have time to sit there and play games like Angry Birds? That game fizzled. I don't even know if they're making a new Angry Bird game now. I mean, I've been out of the game for so long, but I haven't heard anything about Angry Birds since 2015. I actually recall Ravio filing for bankruptcy. Bankruptcy. But Angry Birds was a one-hit wonder, and that's another thing with mobile games and indie games. Like you might have a one-hit wonder, but how long will it be before somebody gets sick of it? Like Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm surprised people are still wanting to jump. I think the one, I think Matt Pat is another reason why that game is still going strong because Matt Pat, no offense to game theory people, but all he seems to do is like there was like a ton of videos. He seemed like do a ton of videos hawking Five Nights at Freddy's. Like we get it, you love the game, you love the lore. But I think so. So Game Theory, of course, comes out with a video when the new Five Nights at Freddy come out. That's fine. You do you. That and it's a lot of YouTubers actually got popular because of that one game. So I think that creates the buzz in as of itself. I actually consider doing a game where you shoot. There there's an uprising of zombie Nazis. Because since the controversy, since Trump has gotten elected, is that there's like this resurgence of Nazis with alt right. So I thought maybe a game that sparked some controversy where you play as a minority character or female character, and you go blasting hordes and hordes of mummified Nazis and eventually the revived Frankenstein version of Adolf Hitler. Now, of course, you're going to get a lot of people from the alt right giving a huge backlash because they're the alt right. Um, and then you got the social justice warriors on the other side saying that this game is awesome, blah blah blah. And then it'll be front page of Kotaku. You could actually just you could probably get away by making a prototype of this game. I could probably just make a prototype of one level showing a minority character or a female character blasting hordes of zombie Nazis, and another picture of a boss who's basically Hitler crossed with Frankenstein. And then I can almost guarantee you that Polygon, Kotaku, and other outlets are going to create buzz. I think me talking about this could create some buzz, and I'll probably get threatened and doxxed because people are jerks like that. But it seems like if you want to get noticed, you have to make your game. You got to put some controversy. You got to put something in there, especially if you're a no-name developer that nobody's ever heard of. Either that or maybe some high-profile YouTuber will just play your game and be like, "Oh, the game's awesome." I'm waiting for the day. I shouldn't really wait, but I'm sort of banking on the day where like Markiplier or Smosh or somebody picks up Baxter's Adventure on Steam, and even if the game still works to this day because Steam or not Steam, Google Chrome changes stuff around. Even if they didn't like the game, they raved and ranted about it, called it stupid, and hated the game, or they maybe thought it was okay and they played it on their channel. Either way, I win. Um, I know I'm rambling. This is more of a rambling video. I mean, this is a long-winded one, but the short answer is I think the indie game Gold Rush is dead, but it's not. Well, it's not dead as in like it's never going to happen again. I mean, you could be lucky, but it's definitely not having it's not buzzworthy anymore because now there's just so many indies out there. It's these new consoles, and I'm glad because honestly, to be an indie gamer or indie gamer, to be an indie game developer just 3 years ago felt like you had to cross a lot of red tape. But now with these new consoles, they made it easier. But at the same time, a lot of indie games tend to look more retro, pixelated, pixel style, and we're starting to kind of do some PlayStation 1 throwbacks. And the kids that play video games now, a lot of them don't really care for the whole retro aesthetic. And then, because they've grown up with like the PlayStation 2, some with the PlayStation 3, and that's all they know. So they see this like pixely game, and it's like that's something my grandpa plays. I become that old geezer still trying to hold on to that bit of nostalgia. And even with Nintendo, like if Nintendo kept making pixelated Mario games, I mean, sure they'll still sell because there's that small core audience, but I don't know if Konami was to release a new Contra game in 16 bits, would it sell? Or maybe I don't know. And this is hard. This is a hard question even for me to answer because I mean I still wanted to get back into the game. Um, and I'd have to learn myself a whole new engine because I guess right now I'm bummed with Construct 2. I am completely bummed out with Construct 2. It's a great program. It's a great software for what it entails to do, but there's a lot of truths that it's stretched because you can make a game right out of the box, but you can't really deploy it without some wet work because the mobile development right now is pretty bad. You could if your game even if your game is simple and simplistic, like you can't put a lot of bells and whistles in your game, otherwise you're going to feel a lot of slowdown. And then you want to make and as being an indie developer for smartphones, you want to try to be compatible with as many devices as possible, especially with Android because they're kind of nutty like that. Apple's not too bad, but Android is pretty much a nightmare. Um, I remember the trouble I had deploying my game to my old phone. It works on my current phone, which is about 3 years old. I'm not the kind of guy that gets a new phone every year. I'm not that kind of guy. Once it starts not functioning right, then I'll get a new phone. Um, and another thing with Android ecosystem is even if you sold your game for just 1 penny, it'll be pirated to hell and back. If your game has ads, it'll be pirated to remove the ads. Android has a serious pirating problem, and it ain't gonna go away. And plus, there are a lot of kids that I've seen at my work, like a lot of youngsters. They jailbreak their phones. It's inevitable. Both Apple and Android. I know Android is not as strict as Apple is when it comes to jailbreaking, but yeah, because you get these games for free. That's why the freemium market's so popular because you pay hundreds of dollars for this crazy expensive phone, and the last thing you want to do is pay another dollar just to play a game. The people in Apple side, they don't mind it too much because you can make decent money if you get recognition. Because there's a guy I follow on Twitter. He does a lot of games with his pig character, and he does okay. He does okay. He's not like making bank, but he does okay. And I also found out that he used GameMaker. For some reason, I thought he was a Construct 2 user. That's so weird. But and sometimes I wonder maybe I gave up too soon. Maybe I gave up after Baxter. Because I was so bummed out with the game engine that I used. I was so gung ho, and then I could have done the graphics a little better. I wanted to do hand drawn over sprites. Um, there's so many dumb little excuses I came up with, and I realized, I just gave up, and that I was wrong. I shouldn't have gave up. I should just continue. And so anyway, I'm gonna end this recording here. So I'm gonna upload this on YouTube, and I gotta apologize. I haven't done a whole lot of videos lately. But it's just kind of been busy, just doing some other stuff. I want to see if I can continue more on something similar to some of my hobbies. If you have any comments about the indie games or the indie game gold rush, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear it. Let's get a debate going. Anyway, I will see you next time. Take care.